A couple of days ago, I went to a sawmill, 40 kilometers, which is 25 miles, up to the coast towards France. I ordered a beechwood for dolls in the town of Canet del Mar. It's picturesque living there indeed. A trip to any utilitarian site turns into a scenic journey. I needed pieces at least 70 millimeters, 2.75 inches thick. In Barcelona, I even found 80 millimeters, 3 and 14 inches thick pieces. Hello to everyone watching from States, subscribe and hit like, so that the parts fit into parallelepipeds of such dimensions. An entire episode is prepared about space technologies in working with wooden dolls, which will be quite interesting through resource-intensive when these dolls are ready. Traveling through the towns, I pondered my long-held dream of living in a tiny European village. But now I live in one of the capitals of European tourism, in part to gain popularity. If in Moscow many people knew of my existence and my vanity basked in the likes left, messages and comments received, then here I decided to start all over again, which was somewhat depressing, as you can imagine. Many of my compatriots work for the diaspora, and that's also a good move. But I don't look for easy ways. I decided to do it for the whole world. I even have a brand and a company name, Haritono World Shop. Now I have finally been allowed to register a business in Spain, and I'm starting my global company. My advertising campaign for my in-person classes will start with Spain, obviously for geographical reasons. And I began advertising my online courses in the UK. I have already mentioned England. I am studied there because we studied this capitalist country in school. Forgive my jokes, but they are more relevant than ever. After all, I am also a freedom fighter, and they come to me naturally. Help me in this endeavor, subscribe, ring the bell, and definitely like. I greatly appreciate new contacts that come from YouTube. Turns out, it's also extremely interesting. Barcelona is a city of establishments, but it's worth noting that it's not the establishments themselves that make the city. Sometimes the local cobblestone streets remind me of 20th century Baku, where all spurted like fountains, just waiting to be tapped. What I mean is that almost anywhere in Barcelona you can set up 4 tables with a keg of draft beer and a coffee machine, and you'll start making a profit almost immediately. Perhaps it's because for Spaniards it is the act of socializing itself that's sacred, not necessarily visiting cafes, bars or restaurants. Yet, this has probably led to the habit of spending a significant amount of leisure time at establishment tables. I have heard statistics suggesting that people allocate a substantial part of their monthly budget to this. A classic morning starts with a cup of coffee at a cafe. Often, at that same cafe, you will find people sipping beer, but that's not our focus right now. In short, coffee and socializing, or coffee with a newspaper and let the whole world wait. I can't imagine how they survived during COVID. When lunchtime approaches, it's worth mentioning a drink like Carajillo. Carajillo is a traditional Spanish beverage that combines coffee with liqueur, usually rum, brandy or whiskey, served either hot or cold. The most popular origin story of Carajillo relates to the Spanish colonization of Cuba. Spanish soldiers added a little rum to their coffee for extra courage, coraje in Spanish, before battle, hence the name Carajillo, which over time became Carajillo. The drink quickly became popular among Spaniards and spread throughout Spain, including the city of Barcelona. Here, as in other parts of Spain, Carajillo is a popular choice after lunch or dinner, thanks to its tonic effect and ability to aid digestion. Barcelona, with its rich cafe culture and love for coffee drinks, has embraced Carajillo as part of its culinary heritage. In this city, you will find many variations of Carajillo, including those using local Catalan liqueurs like crema catalana. In Barcelona's nightlife, Carajillo holds a special place as a drink to enjoy after dinner or during a night out. It's a popular choice to end the evening, blending the strength of alcohol with the invigorating effect of coffee. In general, if you are too old for vodka with Red Bull, but the day has been long and you need strength, opt for Carajillo, a more authentic way to combat fatigue. The history of coffee begins with legends and myths, but the most historians agree that its origins lie in Ethiopia, the only traditional Christian country in Africa. According to one popular legend, a shepherd named Kaldi noticed that his goats became particularly energetic after eating berries from certain bushes. Trying them himself, Kaldi also felt a surge of energy and alertness. Later, these berries reached local monks who discovered that a drink made them these berries helped them stay awake during prayers. From Ethiopia, knowledge of coffee spread to Yemen, where coffee cultivation began systematically in the 15th century. The city of Mocha in Yemen became a major trading center for coffee, from where it spread across the Arab world. Coffee houses called Yahweh became popular in major cities of the Middle East, such as Damascus and Istanbul. In the 17th century, coffee reached Europe via traders and travelers, where it quickly became popular. The first coffee houses opened in Venice, followed by England, France, Spain. Coffee became a symbol of the Enlightenment and was fashionable for public debates and literary meetings in cafes. Over time, coffee spread worldwide, becoming one of the most popular beverages. Its cultivation and production became an important part of the economy for many countries, especially in Latin America, Africa, and Asia, where the climate allows for the growth of various coffee bean varieties. Latin America, as we are noticed, is a quite stimulating region, judging by its rich exports and fiery traditions. Where I am from, mostly there's just snow and figuring out how to melt it. There are countless ways to brew this wonderful beverage, from the simple French press to exotic cold brew, where ice drips through a layer of ground coffee in a special way, the games of gourmets. For me, coffee is also a sacred drink. I love everything about it: the taste, the aroma, the energy, the brewing process. I enjoy exploring different varieties and flavor nuances. Perhaps it's related to my slightly low blood pressure, but I feel good after drinking it, and that's enough for me. I don't particularly care for coffee machines and makers. I love brewing coffee in a jazv or Turkish coffee pot. When I put it on the fire in the morning, it feels like I'm warming up my day, charging it with energy. Sometimes my day smells of cinnamon, sometimes of cloves, and sometimes it's just the nutty aftertaste of my favorite Maragadzip variety. Every woman is a bit of witch. One day, I was sitting with a cup of coffee and drawing something in my sketchbook, when I accidentally spilled the coffee on my drawing. That's how another ritual was born. I draw funny coffee characters. Sometimes this ways new and very unexpected ideas are born. Currently, I'm dedicated all my energy to a big project, but sometimes I want to diversify my day with something selfless. From roasting, let's move to firing. I have a dog currently resembling a burn victim more than anything, which is intended to be the heroine of El Raval, the most romantic, at the same time the most odious district of Barcelona. And as befits the embodiment of these districts, her path is to be long and exhausting. She became the prototype for porcelain molds. That is, the plaster casts were taken from her to later pour liquid material into them. Due to the chemical reaction, the plaster heats up as it sets, causing the doll's surface to darken in pieces like vitiligo. Vitiligo is a chronic human skin disease where it can become patchy. It involves the loss of pigment melanin in the skin, leading it to the appearance of white patches of various sizes and shapes on different parts of the body. Everyone remembers the Canadian model Winnie Harlow. She is now the face of the casual clothing brand Desigual in Barcelona. I have seen billboards with her. In the future, I would like to beautifully make a doll with this feature. After all, I am personally invested in inclusivity. But in my case, it's not even about the skin color, but the lost details. All the subtleties have to be painstakingly restored. The doll was planned to have a dusky complexion, as is often the case in Spain. I mixed several shades of Cernit polymer clay. This clay is very strong but not easy to work with. One of the features of this clay is that it significantly changes color when heated. The doll can darken by the several shades, which is useful to know when you're choosing a shade. So, Cernit darkness by a couple of shades when baked. As for strength of the material, we duly appreciated its product qualities when the doll Carmen fell face down on the tiled floor during her first photo shoot on the roof. And everything was fine, not even a chipped nose. Knowing what collectors put dolls through, I want to hand over something, if not internal, then at least durable. I'll continue the story soon, so subscribe not to miss out. I'll also show how I make the first casting in these plaster molds. Another intriguing topic for discussion I picked up from a musician Roda while working on the melody for Carmen is the theremin. The theremin is truly a Soviet invention, not just a musical instrument, but a magical device as is from science fiction novel. Imagine standing in front of a mysterious box, waving your hands in the air, and the music starts playing without touching a single string or pressing any keys. Just like magic, right? Well, meet the theremin, the world's first electronic musical instrument. And its creation story is no less fascinating. How its creator, Leon Theremin, conquered the West with the unique musical instrument and other inventions. But let's dive deeper. A recipient of the Stalin Prize, as often happened, was sent to the Gulag in the 1938. This was a system of labor camps where prisoners were subjected to hard physical labor in extreme conditions. Later, thanks to his knowledge and skills, Theremin was transferred from the camp to work in a sharashka, a secret research and development lab where imprisoned scientists and engineers worked on projects for the state. They experimented with technology where approaching electrified barbed wire made the sound louder and harsher. This was so the administration's employees and their dogs could more easily detect and catch an escapee. A lot of beautiful music was created with it. But it's good to know the true history of objects and phenomena, to say without rose-colored ponies. Wikipedia mentions the commercial success of the theremin, but its development was never intended for commercial success. I think the word success does not apply to this technology. However, there are many beautiful melodies that we shouldn't deny ourselves. Even Led Zeppelin recorded their famous Whole Lotta Love and Knock Water with the theremin. I adore these compositions. As Christians sometimes say, God is in the suffering. So, in the laid perception of the story, it's as if Jesus himself is winking at us from the kingdom of heaven. And it would be good for us all not to forget about suffering when we are feeling good. Subscribe and hit like.